Hey there, Curtis Quillen, sports director at 6 News, here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah, where the BYU Cougars just upset the Baylor Bears 26-20 in double overtime. It was a disappointing game, but one that the Bears say they can learn from moving forward with all their goals in front of them. Here's what the Bears had to say after the game.
I guess that'd be a little disappointing to lose, or the way that final drive ended with the two penalties.
Yeah.
You maybe just expound on that.
Yeah, just discipline, I think, is the big thing. Coach preaches it all the time. The biggest way you lose games is by hurting yourself, and we hurt ourselves 2 times in critical situations. I take full ownership of both those. Those are both on me. But, again, these are mistakes you're going to make early in the season, and I think we're just going to have to go back to the practice field. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to be ready for next week.
Is there anything BYU defense did differently than they did last time, just in terms of the way they played, particularly against the run?
Yeah, I think they mixed up their looks a lot more than they did last year. Last year, I think they kind of stayed in their the same looks most of the game. Here, I think they adjusted well, and I think they played a lot of different looks and gave us a lot of different, I guess, plays to go against.
What'd y'all do offensively? You had a hard time moving it most of the first half, and then after that, y'all got it going a lot better.
I think we just got back to some basics. I think we kind of focused in. We have a great staff, so we make great adjustments and things like that. So I think that's really what happened in the second half. I think we kind of knew what we can do, and I think we kind of fixed some little things that we needed to fix. But obviously there's still way more to fix, and we're going to get back to that.
That final offensive possession in regulation, do you kind of wish you guys would have been a little more aggressive with it, or did you like kind of what you guys ran there?
I can't remember too much about that situation and what we did. I mean, I'm not a play caller. I do what my coaches tell me to do, and I trust them completely with whatever play they come up with. So if they don't want to be aggressive, they want to be aggressive. That's up to them. I do what they tell me to do.
Quaylen and Squirrel really ran hard. Can you just talk a little bit about what they did when they came in there?
Yeah, extremely hard workers, obviously. I mean, there's not much else to be said. They work extremely hard. They're great humans, and that's the reason they're out there on that field.
Jacob, I know you take a lot of pride in keeping Blake clean.
Mhm.
4 sacks, I think most of those in the first half. Was there anything they did differently to put pressure on you?
Yeah, I think just different looks. Not everything is just always like, oh, we didn't block this, we didn't block that. I mean, sometimes they dial up a good pressure, and it works well against our protection, things like that. But I think there's something everybody can fix. There's something I can fix. There's something the tight ends can fix, running backs, quarterbacks. I mean, it's an everybody thing. Sack is not just always on one position group. I mean, we all block out there, so it's kind of on everybody.
How loud was that stadium, particularly with all the students and stuff?
Yeah, it's a very loud stadium. Everybody here knows that. We knew that coming in, and I think we were prepared for that.
Anything else for Jacob?
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks.
How tough is it to lose a game like this? Double overtime, had a good chance on the road.
First and foremost, I always like to give thanks to God, because without him I wouldn't be here today. But it's really tough, you know. You prepare through the week, and you feel like your game plan is strong, and then you go out and you execute, and then sometimes it doesn't come out how we want to. But at the end of the day, it's what's next, how can we fix it, making sure we're mature about it, and making sure that we go back, watch the film, and we understand the mistakes that were made. Because, you know, season's not over with. All the goals that we had before are still in front of us, and we just got to go on and move on from this, but make sure we fix the mistakes.
Mark, with 2 of their best receivers out, they were still able to pass for 261 yards. Was there anything they did that surprised you? Or?
No, sir. I think at the end of the day, it was just, you know, just little things that, you know, can be fixed. But it wasn't too much of a surprise, you know. They're a great football team, even with those people out, you know. But we just got to make sure we don't beat ourselves at the end of the day.
Mark, is it hard dealing with the emotions of, you know, all the missed field goals? Obviously, some good for you guys, some bad for you guys.
You know, it's always get your heart pumping, no matter what it is, which side it is, and that's the best part about football. Like Coach Arena says all the time, he's like, this game is a game of random events, you know, so you never know what could happen. So you kind of just you bank on controlling the controllables, and what we can control is, you know, not beating ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. So when we get in those situations, we hopefully can execute.
What was it like just trying to defend against Jaron Hall, a guy who can move like that and throw like that?
It was, you know, we played a lot of good quarterbacks. He has a lot of great talent. We had a really good game plan, and you know, like I said, you know, we just can't beat ourselves. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm happy that, you know, this did happen, because now we can, you know, later on down the road, we've already been through this, so we know how to work through it and be on top next time.
Mark, the defense holding them to field goals both at the end of regulation and overtime, how big was that, just to kind of give you guys a chance?
It was really big, but, you know, we try to focus more on making sure we're playing complementary football. So, you know, offense may not do how they wanted to do. Okay, that's all right. Defense will come out and we'll take that load. And then once they get back on there, they have another shot. So at the end of the day, it's all about playing complementary football.
Anything else from Mark?
It's good to see you guys. Yeah, I just got through with the team, so very proud of their effort and their heart. You know, I mean, what I told them was, I mean, there is plenty of opportunities for a lot of individuals or maybe a lot of teams to either quit or turn it down, or to not to continue to give effort and not to continue to fight. And so right up until that last play, you know, that fourth down, I think everyone on our sidelines thinking we're going to win. And that's just way special. I think there's a lot of work that you have to do to get to that point. And I told them you have to fight for that, you know. I mean, there's going to be wins and losses, but, you know, a bigger loss would be if we lose that belief and we lose that connection, you know, if it gets twisted or soured or, you know, gets disconnected. That would be a big loss. And so we'll continue to fight so that we can fight for each other like we did tonight. You know, Wade, you know, disappointed in our lack of discipline. You know, reminds me a little bit of the Oklahoma State game a year ago. You know, that game was more of a kind of a break and kind of a frustration, kind of a breakdown. We would call that playing red, and didn't really feel that tonight. I felt like we were able to kind of hold our composure, but just thought that you know, we have to be able to not hold on critical pass downs. We've got to be able to play through the down and not have a pass interference on critical downs. You know, we have 14 penalties, which is way, way too much. You know, I think we go into these tough environments. You know, this is the first of a couple. It's really kind of colored this whole season is going to be this. And, you know, it's one thing to be able to play an opponent, a real worthy and good opponent, but we can't be playing them and us. And we were doing that basically the whole game. And so, you know, we can get better in that regard for sure. You know, I have to do a better job because it's something that we've been talking about, but we're not doing. And so we've got to make the connections there. But with that, I'll take any questions you guys got.
Dave, you mentioned the discipline. Were the two false starts on the last drive particularly tough to see in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was, you know, because I have to imagine if you're a fan, you're just kind of, you know, you're throwing down your whatever you got in your hand when that goes on. And it's just, you know, I think it's, you know, there is an understanding of when we go into tough spots that, you know, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be able to hear everything. You're going to have to, the detail that you're going to have to whether if it's seeing the ball in that case, or if it's, you know, if it's a two-man coverage and it's third down in a while, and we lose contain, and you know we'd like to not lose contain, but if we do, so that down is now extended, and you're thinking the ball's got to be out on time, and now it's not, to not hold and to not, you know, not cheat that down. I think that, you know, that pushes people to a level of discipline that we're obviously not at, and so we have to get much better at. But I think a lot of it was disappointing, but it's all stuff that's correctable.
Do you feel like the offense kind of got in a good groove finally there at the end of the first half, with that scoring drive and start out the same way in the third quarter?
Yeah, I think, the best criticism of the bad is the practice of the better. And so we were able to, struggling with stuff. And there's, I think we were rattled some with just the crowd and just the energy and all of that. And I thought, to not be thinking about like what we got to do, but like what we can drop, like what we're carrying with us, man. Drop all of that. And, you're enough, dude, and let's just play. I think a lot of that's kind of hard to get across because guys get caught up with expectations and disappointments and all of it. And I thought we were able to make some progress with that. And you could see guys kind of come back to life. And so that's just way cool. And I think that is something to build off of because, like I say, this is the first of a couple.
Dave, what was the atmosphere like in the locker room post-game, and how do you as the head coach dictate that?
It was down, going, walking into it. Guys were disappointed. But I think, there's a staff meet prior at the hotel during the day prior to all of this. And so the talk was, we'd love to win this game. But I think more important than, I guess I should say just as important as winning the game would be, how we all respond. And so if a player does something that ain't great as a coach, let's show, let's be teachers, right? And let's use whatever just happened as an opportunity to get better. And so I just think like looking at it that way, because the thought is, again, this is the first of a couple that we're going to be going into. And, as much as this stings and all of it, if it's used for the practice of the better, then let's do that. And so I feel like throughout the game, right, all of the negative things that happened, I thought that we were able to kind of handle that and really work to try to transform that into something better. And so I'm proud of that, and that kind of carries on with the post-game talk. And so for guys to see, it's when you get into tough spots, it's easy to see it look like you're looking out of a straw. But if you open up the vision a little bit, you can see that this is just, it's all part of it. And we've got some youth that got rattled, and, we'll be better for it.
Thank you. Dave, how hard was it to lose Dylan when you did at that juncture?
Yeah, I think, that it seemed like it seemed like it was a bang bang play, which a lot of those are. And so you look at the replay of it, and he's lunging and leading with all of it. So it's unfortunate to see. A lot of times when it's a bang bang play like that, you get those. And so he was great. The ump came by and asked, "Hey, is he okay?" I think Dylan's got a reputation of not doing stuff like that. So I go, this is kind of out of this character for this dude. Is he okay? And I said, he's all right. And so Dylan was great on the sideline, just kind of being there for guys and everything like that. And his opportunity for Tyrone, and I thought he played well, So a lot of learning today.
Thank you all.
As for what's next, Baylor hosts Texas State. Saturday kickoff in Waco set for 11 a.m. and 6 Sports will be there.